Okay, and all I did was show you a couple of locations where you may have in the past done a mini competitive intelligence white paper. And I believe that when I showed you about 20 videos back, or 5 or 10 videos back, I think I pretty much did it in the VOMA phase. Phase 1 is a great place to store that. Now I've done a lot of stuff, and I'm going to throw you for one more loop. We're going to view all clusters, and we're actually going to do a phase 2 for flower essences. So just go ahead and create a phase 2. Let's just do a phase 1, because we know that's a theme, and I'm going to lead you all up to a phase 3 so we can do a phase 3 in a couple of them. Okay, we're going to call this phase 2. Submit. Flower essences. About all you would do at this point is jot some of these down if you want. You can cut and paste them, but most of them should be available to you already from the VOMA. And again, we'll be able to consider these topics and themes. Click Continue. Go ahead and click the theme define. And then you've got a flower essence with its isolation phase, which, as you remember, is phase 1. You can show that to the client. And if you're too lazy, and like we talked about, if you're too lazy to mess with the drill down and the cleanup required once you do drill down to validate this list, you can just go back to the VOMA phase of your original flower essence, which is back flower essences VOMA. And you can take a look at VOMA. You've probably already drilled down into it. Yep, you have. You can tell right here it says 31. Go ahead and go over to flower essences and see what other topically related things you may have decided to focus. Now you're trying to bring flower essences together. And a whole lot has gone on in this particular sequence, keeping in mind that everybody's process and flow will be a little bit different depending upon the client, the function of the site, and the purpose overall. All we really found related to flower essences, because we know that Bach flower is really not going to be theme defining for this client for several reasons. Because we're not going to be defined by Bach as a remedy in general as a market, because Brent is trying to define a new market and carve out a new market. Therefore, quite literally, within the programmatic development of this blueprint, Bach flower will not define the theme, which is really interesting. And I think after research, all we really found topically related to flower essence by itself is flower essence. Okay, and this is something that we went over early on. So go view themes for this cluster. Just go to view all clusters actually. And we're going to go back into the other one. Flower essences. If you want, you can create a new theme for flower essence. Drill into this, and now we're just sorting the topic. You'll probably recall that flower remedies was a pretty good one as well. We'll drill onto that in a second. Flower essence done. View themes for this cluster. You can see we've kind of taken all the work we did in VOMA and we have started to build our topic list. We'll get into the topic of whether or not you use flower essences or flower essence. There are times, many times in fact, you want to handle them individually for different reasons. You can tell, of course, that there's far less traffic on flower essences. Be advised that we do view these in the phrase match, so people are looking for these two words individually. And you're going to want to include that in, just in my opinion. Don't assume because the word flower essence is in flower essences that you're going to automatically rank for it if you're targeting flower essences. Add a new theme, and we've checked these things out pretty well. Topically, flower remedies came up in our early research and is kind of a nice variation for the word flower essence. As the search engine improvement synonyms start coming up, you can keep an eye out for them. We do create, Steve and I both create TXT files if we see anything along the way to the blueprint or to phase 3 and 4. Floral essence is something else that I noticed early on. So I'll just jot that down in a TXT pad and maybe just drill into it. And floral essence should have already been a breakaway on phase 1. I don't think we got that far into floral essence, but that's where I would have already have easily discovered it. Flower remedies has a whole lot of similarities to flower essences. And when you start looking for stuff like that, you'll find that flower essence is a T, so that's not going to be a part of anything that we want to do. And this is stuff that would have been discovered during VOMA. So this is kind of it for flower essences right now. This is the big bag total search market value. You know, you're up over $1 million. This is why Brent needs to go for some higher verticals, which we really have laid out already in all the different VOMA. Next video is a breakthrough. We're going to create a new cluster. Phase 3, when we come back. We're almost there, folks. It gets very quick.